Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Sammy Leggett here, representing Team JVS, here to give you guys another movie review for 2025. I'm talking about Novocaine. Now, Novocaine was directed by Dan Burke and Robert Olson. This is starring the amazing Jack Quaid. He is the headline for this movie, and I'm gonna go and break down why he excelled in this role on so many different levels. But it's starring Jack Quaid, Amber Wind Thunder. If you've seen Prey, she's been in that. She's amazing. Jacob Batalon, if you've seen, of course, Ned from the Spider-Man series. Ray Nicholson, Jack Nicholson's son, and a slew of other amazing actors and actresses as well. But let's go ahead and kind of break this down. So Novocaine in and of itself is not what you think. It's not about like a guy, hooked on Novocaine or like what you would know about what Novocaine actually is. It's not that. This is actually about a guy named Nathan. Nathan Kane, no, get what's it? Novocaine. Unfortunately, was blessed slash cursed with an inability to feel pain in any way, shape, or form. What I mean by that is like if his hand is burning, he wouldn't feel it. If he was eating something that was tender or hot or cold, his taste buds wouldn't even be able to differentiate because he doesn't have those pain sensors there. And so he kind of works a regular job, like he's a normal guy, he's cool, but at the same time, like he has things about himself that he doesn't like. Like because he is dealing with his different issues, he's a loner and he doesn't have that many friends outside of maybe one. And even though he's a bank teller or assistant manager to a bank, he kind of keeps to himself up until the point that he meets a girl, and the girl had been maybe working there for maybe like 4 months roughly, but he's smitten, like he is in love with her. And all he wants to do is kind of know who she is, and her name is Sherry. For all intents and purposes, and Amber does a great job with it, but you don't know a lot about her, but you also know she has a troubled past, and they instantly connect. And then unfortunately, within that same time frame, unfortunately, a bank heist starts, and the ball is now in his court because she has been taken as a hostage in the middle of a bank robbery. And so he takes it upon himself to go after her with his inability to feel pain. What did I think about this? This movie was insane on so many different levels. I did not know this movie was going to be as entertaining and insane as what I thought. There are moments in this movie that I swore I was like, this is the next Mortal Kombat movie. Like I mean that. I legit mean that there are scenes and deaths and violence that are Mortal Kombat worthy. But I'm gonna go and kind of piece together as much as I can with it because, again, like I said, Nathan has an inability to feel pain, but he is also very driven. He's driven with this idea that he has to get to Sherry as fast as he can because there's a likelihood that she will not survive because it's a hostage situation. So he's going to put his life on the line and, of course, his body on the line. But what everybody doesn't know is his inability to feel pain. And so it puts him in these crazy precarious situations where he is putting his body on the line. He is having to fight back. And every single fight in this movie, he is taking terrible damage. He just doesn't feel it. And if you've seen like let me think what's a good one. Jason Statham's Crank, right? Or what's another really good one? There's a lot of different little movies that remind me of this, but I love this type of genre because it's this out of box thinking of how do you put a human in a scenario where you root for them, but they got this underlying issue or this underlying theme that kind of like you just don't know about and what the capability of what they can actually do. Like if you look at the movie Mr. Nobody, he had a crazy past, and so you just did not anticipate how far he could or would go. especially with somebody with a family. But this scenario is really different because you're like, wait, what is this gonna actually turn into? And I think the other thing about it, and I think that Amber and Jack do have great chemistry. I was all in for their little love story. I was all in to see where this could actually go. But it didn't make or break the movie either, because there are a lot of other characters that kind of play a role in this. And I want to give flowers to one specific actor, and that is Ray Nicholson. If you don't know who Ray Nicholson is, he is Jack Nicholson's son. I think he's roughly around 33 or 34. And I think the last movie he was in was Smile. And you can tell he's got his dad's classic smile. But in this movie, he is insane. He is actually, I don't think I've seen a antagonist as charismatic, likable, and yet threatening in a very long time. And it's not that, sociopathic, crazy, menacing. It's just the scenario that he finds himself in because of Jack's character, Nathan. It forces him to do some very outlandish things. And it's like you don't really know what kind of personality he is either. And I give him all the credit because he nailed this role. Like a lot of the scenes that he's in, he's a scene stealer. Like he actually does a really great job. The other thing that I'll give credit for is the choreography, the stunts and the choreography and the death and the violence. Oh my gosh, the way they set up certain things, you would think you're looking at a John Wick movie. This is what I think Love Hurts was going for, because some of the stuff that Nathan is unfortunately put through, as you can see right here, is an impossible situation, right? That you would ever see anybody in. Like, even if somebody has a good pain tolerance, they're going to feel pain. But that's not the case with this. And there's certain levels to what that actually means. Like, does that mean that, like, if somebody hits him head hard enough that he doesn't get a concussion? That gets answered. I love how they handle all the different levels of the things that happen to him from a violent standpoint, the way he fights off or fends off certain scenarios, and also how he gets the knowledge to understand some of this stuff. Like they piece it all together. This is such a smooth action, crazy revenge kind of scenario. And I really think it is the perfect Saturday, Sunday matinee movie. Like, this is not something that you go and take your kids to see necessarily, unless you're with them and you let them know and you prepped and you've watched ahead of time. Because this is very gory. There's one moment in this movie, I swear, I was squeamish. I was like, oh my gosh, no, he did not just do that. And it keeps ramping up. It never lets up. When I said Mortal Kombat, I would swear some of the deaths in this is Mortal Kombat worthy. But I think that there's an equal dose of gore and violence and charisma and joy and likability and this weird, funny comedy. It's almost at times like a romantic comedy at times. And then other times it is a straight brawl and you don't know where it's going to be. Again, a movie just recently came out, Love Hurts. I think that was what they were trying to aim for. But I think that where they were running, Novocaine is walking, and they are walking in a stride that I just love this movie. I don't know how to really. I could go and rant more. I could go and talk about, like, there's certain scenes and shots and the way they handle the camera work for this is really well done. There's never a fight scene that you can't see what's actually happening. They use a wide scope so you can be able to see the environmental situation. They set up certain scenes perfectly. I think that, the soundtrack choices for this actually worked out really well. I think that all the actors involved, they know how to play their role. It's not too over serious, where at the same time, it's not too unbelievable, even though it's a fantastical situation. And I think that everybody's likable. There's not a character in this that I felt was unlikable. And I think that that works in strides because when they're not likable, they're forgettable. And when they're forgettable, you don't even know where you're focusing on. But when you have like a random there's a fight that happens with Nathan, and he's at a tattoo parlor, and the person that he goes and gets in a fight with, like that fight, there should be only one reason why you should remember the person that he gets in a fight with. But the way they handle it, and there's certain specific things and certain specific situations that happen that you're like, oh, I'm not gonna forget this fight at all. And you're not gonna forget the character and how the situation kind of pans out either. So I really think this was carefully done. It was like thought with a lot of action 90s love. And at the same time, they've made this something very different. This could be its own genre, in my opinion. I really did think that Novocaine was great. I don't know another scenario where I would be like, oh yeah, no, this is actually a 9 out of 10. This is a minus for me. Absolutely. So definitely go and check out Novocaine when you get a chance to. You will not be disappointed. I also got to check it out in a 4DX theater. So when there's a chase scene, which chase scenes are actually crazy, there's a lot of rumbling, shaking. When there's like people getting thrown around or knives stuck or like everything, it was great. I really enjoyed it. But I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys go and check out Novocaine. Let me know when you go see it, what you guys think of it, and if like this enticed you more to go and check it out, all for the better because this is a good movie. All right, peace, y'all.